Hello and welcome. Today we're working on what if we have bad debts that we've previously written off, but now we recovered them. So here's how we do it. If you're new to the channel, my name's Jeff from Finally Learn, where I help you finally learn financial accounting. We're in the financial accounting chapters. We're in chapter 8, accounting for receivables. All the previous chapters, I've got articles, I've got videos, playlists, so this should be helpful for you if you're learning financial accounting. So I've got two problems here on bad debts that are recovered. Let's say that Eldridge Company has the following information for 2025. We have sales and we have receivables. What if we have December 2025, we have estimated bad debts to be 5% of accounts receivable. Now, we're on the allowance method. And if we're on the allowance method, then what happens is we're going to make an entry for bad debt expense. Our bad debt expense is going to be how much? Well, it's going to be the $42,000 times 5%. Remember, 5% is 0.05. So our bad debt expense is $2,100, and we're going to credit allowance for doubtful accounts or allowance for bad debts. Here I just abbreviated that just a little bit. So allowance for doubtful accounts. Let's assume in December of 2026, so 9 months later, the company wrote off bad debts of $2,350. So what entry do we make? Well, we're going to debit allowance for doubtful accounts, and we're going to credit accounts receivable for various accounts. We'll credit accounts receivable writing off their accounts, and the amount is $2,350. So allowance for doubtful accounts and accounts receivable. But let's say in December of 2026, the company received $470 from accounts that were previously written off. So what do? Well, what we need to do is get rid of and reverse $470 of this entry. So instead of debiting the allowance and crediting the accounts receivable, we need to debit the accounts receivable and credit allowance for doubtful accounts, and the amount is $470. Now that reverses the write-off. Now what we need to do is recognize we receive cash. So we're going to debit cash and credit accounts receivable, and the amount is $470. So if you think about it, if you just lay it out, what we have is we need to reverse. If we receive some cash that was previously written off from an account, then what we need to do is reverse the allowance and accounts receivable entry. We need to make an entry that's opposite of that reverses it. So we make this entry to reestablish the account, and then we make an entry that we have received money on the account. Okay, I've got a second little problem here. All right, our second problem is, let's say Ray Company estimates bad debts at 2% of credit sales. Let's find the ending balance in the allowance for doubtful accounts based on the following information. We have credit sales, we have the allowance balance, it's a credit balance at the beginning of the year. We collected accounts that were written off in previous years, and then we actually wrote off accounts during 2025. Now the best way to do this, and I've already set this up for you a little bit, let's look at the allowance for doubtful accounts. Now we're assuming a credit balance of $16,000. Let me drop that in there. So that is going to be our beginning balance, it's a credit, and our ending balance is going to be a credit. And so what we have is, if we ever estimate bad debts, we would debit bad debt expense and credit the allowance for doubtful accounts. So the bad debt expense is going to be what? Well, we have credit sales of $2.4 million, and when we estimate bad debt expense, it's going to be 2% of that. So I'm going to take the $2.4 million times 2%, and so our bad debt expense entry must have been $48,000. All right? Now, how much do we write off? When we write off an account, we're going to debit the allowance and credit the accounts receivable, and we actually wrote off how much? Well, we wrote off $33,600. Now we're used to all this. What's different, the focus of this video is we have collection of accounts written off in prior years. So we had $9,500 that people owed us, but we had written it off. We did not expect to collect it. So to reestablish that, what does it take? We have to credit the allowance for doubtful accounts, and that's in the amount of $9,500. So what is our ending balance? Our ending balance is the sum of the credits minus the one debit that we have here. So our ending balance of allowance for doubtful accounts is $39,900 in this problem. So you can do problems based on reestablishing credit or collecting accounts that were previously written off. Hey, I hope this is helpful for you. Please like, please subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Good luck in accounting.